what I'm worried about is, there you go. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stop.
So we have, how many present there, Jesse?
Yes, so
10?
we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 members present and 5 members absent.
Thank you. So we have 10 present, so we have a quorum. We are elected or appointed non-paid members of our community. We are charged to advise the county on discretionary projects, as well as planning and land use matters that are proposed with our community planning group area. And I'm going to bring up the agenda. And the first item, first of all, we are recording primarily for the purposes of preparing meeting minutes. Public communication. Victoria, is there anyone from the public who has their hand raised for communication?
I have my hand raised.
Okay, go ahead, Victoria.
So this is something that has been on our priority list for the past 2 years, just trying to get the county to replace the wood chips in the playground at Lamar County Park with a rubberized surface. It's currently not safe or accessible. We have found cigarette butts, shards of glass, syringe needles in the wood chips where kids are barefoot and where kids are putting things in their mouth. In addition, having wood chips underneath swings where kids could potentially move them and kick them. And when children fall, there's no padding when they fall. And having the wood chips is not accessible to children who have walkers or wheelchairs. And so I'd really just like our parks and our playgrounds to be as safe and accessible as possible, especially because we don't have enough parkland for the amount of people here in Spring Valley. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anyone else with their hand raised, Victoria?
I'm looking, but I don't see any other hands at the moment. Oh,
Okay.
wait, Christian has their hand up.
Christian, go ahead, please.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we sure can.
All right, cool. I hope everybody's doing well. I haven't seen y'all in a little bit, but I just wanted to agree with Victoria on that. I think that's a huge issue. Like our children are our future, and like it's a safer playground is just like it's going to be funner, recreational, and as well as just wanted to see if you guys had an update about the skate park. That's it. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Victoria, anybody else?
There are no other hands. Christian still has their hand up.
Oh yeah, Christian, are you done? There
There
you
are
go.
no other hands.
Thank you, Christian. All right, so we're going to move on to the action items. Mike Madrid, who's a land use environmental planner, long range planning, County of San Diego Planning and Development Services, is going to present on the updated draft specific plan for the Campo Road Corridor Revitalization Specific Plan because of Spring Valley's close proximity to the project location. Matter of fact, I can see it from my backyard. So if we can go ahead, Mike, I believe I have you set up as a co-host. Or if I don't, I will right now.
Yeah, it's not letting me share right now.
Okay, there you go. Yep, you're now a co-host. So go ahead, please.
Stop sharing the agenda.
Yeah, that figures. Okay, all right, now, Mike, thanks.
All right, can everyone see that?
Yep.
No, the agenda's still up.
No, I got the, I have it. The agenda is still up.
Yep.
Oh, I have the county program up.
Yeah, I do too.
County program is up.
Okay, well, I'll just go ahead and get started then. So thank you, Tim. My name is Mike Madrid. I'm a long-range planner at Planning and Development Services at the County of San Diego. I have Josh Menvell here today as well in the call as well. He's also on the Casa de Oro team to put together this specific plan. We'll be presenting our efforts to develop a specific plan document for the Campo Road corridor within the Casa de Oro area tonight. This is just going to be an informational item. Like Tim said, this is in the Valle de Oro planning area, but we wanted to make sure that because of the proximity to Spring Valley that we get you guys this information as well. So purpose of tonight's presentation is to present the information about the specific plan that's been out for quite some time. We've done quite a bit of outreach in the area. I'm sure some of you are aware of this effort going on, taking place right on the other side of the 94 from Spring Valley to revitalize the Campo Road segment between Granada Avenue on the east and Rogers to the west. And so what we want to do tonight is provide some information, give an opportunity to ask some questions, and then some ways to stay involved in the future if you'd like. The purpose of the specific plan, we could just jump right into it. The proposed changes to the Campo Road corridor. What is this plan looking to achieve? The Campo Road corridor revitalization specific plan, that's its full name. It's a community-based plan to improve the public safety, the quality of life, and the diversity of building types along the Campo Road commercial corridor in Casa de Oro. How is this plan going to affect the people who live around the area? It's a policy document, meaning that this plan is not, it has policies and an implementation plan. So it's different than what a long-range plan would act. This document is actually not only a policy document, but a zoning document as well. It provides the vision for the future development of Campo Road. It also includes opportunities for a mixture of residential and commercial land uses, whereas today it's mainly commercial along Campo Road. It also details changes to Campo Road's layout to improve the safety for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers all alike. And it also establishes a unique look and identity for Campo Road in the Casa de Oro area through those updated design standards and guidelines in the zoning. What the specific plan also includes, like I mentioned before, is an implementation plan, which outlines project timelines, cost estimates, and potential funding sources to actually implement the public improvements that are laid out in the plan. So while the plan itself was funded through a SANDAG grant through a Smart Growth Incentive Program grant, the grant did not come with money to actually construct the infrastructure that's shown or that's proposed in the specific plan itself. So that's a kind of a secondary step after this process. So just to orient everyone, again, we're looking at the Valle de Oro area, but right up against Spring Valley on that southwest corner of it. We're looking at this red blob that we have tried to point out with an arrow. I don't know if that's too small for people to see or not, but that's the area we're talking about. More specifically, here's a zoomed in version of it where it's outlined in red. The Campo Road corridor that we're looking at is about 7/10 of a mile from end to end. It also includes the Kenwood Drive segment that comes off of 94 and then to the 5-way intersection on the east side that I mentioned at Granada and Casa de Oro Boulevard. So let's just quickly go over the vision for the Campo Road specific plan. Prior to COVID, staff attended a couple of meetings, the Casa de Oro Fall Festival. We also held a couple of workshops to receive input on this plan. Over the course of these events, people asked questions, they provided their thoughts, they took part in interactive exercises, and they looked over the draft project materials at the time. We also concluded a public review of this document last year where we put out a draft of the plan. We've had a couple drafts since then, but we do have the latest information on the project website, and we'll provide a link at the end of this presentation if you want to go take a look as well. Looking at the vision itself, we took that feedback that we got from all of these different, I'm sorry, is the bottom of the screen just yellow? Can you guys see that? Is it showing up?
All
Okay.
the things across are yellow. Background is white.
Is there like a big yellow box at the bottom?
No, I don't
Okay,
see
that must just be on my screen then, so I'll just continue. So again, we took that feedback that we got at all these events. We took them on and grouped them into specific aspirations that the stakeholders wanted to see Campo Road be in the future, what they wanted to see the area become. These 5 goals tie back to our vision. So what the goals are having the area be a welcoming place for everyone, a connected corridor, a cohesive look and feel of the place, a thriving community, and an accessible and equitable place for everyone. This all culminates into our vision statement, which is to create an attractive, vibrant, and pedestrian-oriented mixed-use district and center of activity in which a historically rich, culturally diverse community can live, work, shop, dine, and socialize. Campo Road should continue to serve as the heart of this corridor. So what do all of these things mean? What is a connected corridor? What are we talking about? So just to continue this discussion, we're going to talk about the improved safety on Campo Road. Looking at what it looks like today, which is the photo you're looking at right now. This is from North Bonita Street, looking west. The Albertsons would be on your left. You can see the Chevron station and the Kenwood intersection. You can see the lights for it up ahead, and the Conrad intersection as well. But you can notice that there's 2 travel lanes on each side, a middle center lane, if you will, that goes either way. There's also a 5-foot striped bike lane on each direction with 6-foot attached sidewalks in places. There are a couple spots where there are no sidewalks. There are a couple spots where the sidewalk is very large. Just to kind of also give some tidbits here, there are 70 driveways on the north and south sides of Campo Road, which is approximately 1 every 50 feet. So what did we hear about this current organization of the street and the facilities that are on it? During these events, we received comments that talked about having new crosswalks that are between that long stretch that we just saw, so that way you don't have to jaywalk. I'm sure people have seen jaywalkers on Campo Road in this area. So new crosswalks or mid-block crossings needed between Conrad and Bonita. Slowing the traffic down on Campo and on the side streets. We've looked into traffic data where we've seen several accidents within the last few years just on Campo Road. I think 7 of them were severe injury accidents, and then 38 of them were minor injury accidents. So these aren't just your fender benders, these are people getting hurt in these accidents. So people wanted to see the traffic being slowed down on the streets, more sidewalks and crosswalks like we mentioned before, and then also roundabouts, no stoplights, cut down on the speed, and they look a little bit better than traffic signals. That kind of calms down the speed that cars are traveling on this wide road and makes it safer for everyone. There's too many driveways, like we mentioned. There's about an average of 1 driveway every 50 feet, and every time a car comes out, the traffic must slow down to allow the car to come out, especially if you're getting cut off on Campo Road. And then there's a dangerous intersection for pedestrians at Conrad and Campo Road, and this is that intersection over by Spring Valley Academy, right out front of the CVS. It's very high traffic for pedestrians, for students especially at this intersection, and people wanted to see some improvements to the safety on that intersection. So here's another look at Campo Road. This time we're looking east. That's that 5-way intersection at the very top of the picture. We're sitting here at Cordoba Avenue looking east. This is what it looks like. We see all the same things, the 5 lanes going across, the narrow bike lanes and the sidewalks. What we're looking at in the plan and what the plan envisions is what we're looking at for the buildings, as you can see, have moved closer to the road, whereas before you see a lot of parking lots that kind of abut the sidewalks. We want to move these buildings closer to the road. We're also looking at on-street parking, and then having some more landscaping and sidewalks for making it more welcome for everyone. The taller buildings all work to calm the traffic down, prevent people driving way too fast on these roads. Here's another look at that same segment, but this time we're looking at it from the top down. This gives us a better look at the intersection designs that are proposed in the specific plan. At the right, you see a 5-legged roundabout, which will definitely help relieve some of that waiting at lights for the different number of directions that people travel in this intersection. And then on the western intersection, you could see what we call a modified left turn intersection. This provides full movement for everyone who's on Campo Road. You could turn left, you could turn right, you could go straight through these intersections. But if you're crossing Campo Road, and this is an example at Cordoba, which is the intersection just to the west of Granada, if you're traveling north or south on it, you wouldn't be able to go all the way through, but you could still turn right onto Campo Road from it. So it's right in, right out, going on each direction. But as you can see, there's a center, I'm over here, center island right here that prevents cars from trying to make it all the way across Campo Road in one go. Here's another look at an example of one of these intersections, just to give you a better idea. Most people have seen a roundabout, but you may not notice these where you can't cross going across the picture right here, but there's full movement on the road going in these two directions. So that was a look at some of the public infrastructure and the transportation safety features that are provided in the specific plan. What about the design standards and the review process? So looking at what we have today in terms of zoning, a majority of the specific plan area is zoned C36, and that primarily allows for commercial development. It allows for some residential development, although it's very difficult to make it fit within the very rigid standards that the zoning ordinance has for residential in a commercial area. So the specific plan takes this one size fits all C36 zone, and it replaces it with a one-of-a-kind custom zoning tailored only for the Casa de Oro specific plan area. So you won't find these design standards anywhere else in the county. It's specifically tailored for the types of businesses, the traffic, and the modes of transportation for this area only. So it's very customized essentially to this area. There's two separate districts that are also proposed. You see on this bottom map right here, which is the specific plan map, we have the Gateway District and the Main Street District. I'll go into what these are meant to look like, but essentially we're taking the odd shaped lots that are where people normally enter the corridor in their car, and it kind of makes design standards so that way it can also allow for other things for public improvement, like monuments or art installations, or something that's a little more welcoming as you drive into Campo Road. So we see these pictures right here. In terms of a main street, we're looking at a mixture of uses in the building, either in the same building or side to side, having commercial below the residential, or having residential in the entire building, but still having those businesses for people to come and visit the Campo Road corridor and spend some time down here as a destination rather than kind of a drive-through corridor that it is right now. Looking at the sidewalks and the different types of water features that could possibly be within the roundabouts or at either end of the corridor. These are kind of the characteristics that we heard a lot of feedback during the outreach period and throughout the development of the specific plan as well. There's a proposed change to uses. I've already mentioned the mixture of commercial and residential uses, either within the same building or side to side, having residential as a primary use as well. We want to provide a range of housing options in this area to not only provide the additional housing that people want in this area, but then to also allow for people who have lived here their whole lives another option to stay within the community if they so choose, once they decide to make a switch into a different style of living, or if you had kids and you don't have any kids at home, you're empty nester, things like that. There's a wide range of options that the specific plan wants to make available in this area in order to make it as inclusive as possible, as well as keeping people around who have been here their entire lives. Other changes to uses, so through the feedback again that we received for the visioning of this area, the land uses on this slide will be allowed if they're in existence right now, but they wouldn't be allowed to be newly proposed or expanded. So as the specific plan moves closer to the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors hearing, it's not as if we're going to have to close all of these businesses down as soon as it goes into effect. That's not what we're doing. What it does do is that as these uses phase out, or if they move away, or if they redevelop into uses that are in the specific plan, that same use, like an automotive repair stop, or some of these other ones that are pretty common in the area, would not be able to be rebuilt, but they would still be able to continue on as long as they would like, since they're already there today. And then again, the implementation plan, this kind of sets it apart from a lot of long-range planning, where it's not just a plan that gets written and it's nice and it makes everyone feel good, and then it just sits on a shelf and nothing happens. We really wanted to be proactive in terms of having implementation actions that are available for the community and for the county to start putting this into action. What can we do, day one, right after this is done? As I said before, the SANDAG grant did not come with money to install or build or construct or design any of the features. This is a concept plan, but a big push right at the beginning, and what we've already started doing, is going out and applying for several different grants to get that money to start putting this into practice and seeing how we can move this plan forward for the community who came out for those outreach events and want to see these changes. Speaking of SANDAG, they've historically offered grants of two different kinds. There's planning grants, which is what is funding this effort, and then construction grants. So because this was funded through a SANDAG planning grant, having this plan in place really puts the Casa de Oro area in a great place for applying for future construction grants, especially through SANDAG, since we did it through their program. But we're also continuing to look at the state and federal level as well. We're actively looking at the active transportation program through SANDAG right now, as well as the Safe Streets for All through the federal government. And then a couple other Caltrans grants that we've applied for as well, that we're really trying to get out there and make this happen. So in terms of next steps, I've mentioned the Planning Commission hearing and the Board of Supervisors hearing coming up. Once we have those final dates, we'll be sure to get those over to you guys as well. We are looking at having those hearings coming up this fall or winter, however you decide when that starts. But we are looking at having them this calendar year, so they're coming up pretty quickly. Again, the project website is on the screen. I could also throw it in the chat as well. So that way it's easier for you guys to get there, to look at the documents. We also have videos of previous workshops where you can see the presentations and the kinds of questions that were asked. You can see all that information and more. There's also a link at the top of the project page to sign up for an email notification when we send out notifications for hearings. So with that, thank you again for your time, for letting us have this time at your meeting tonight, and we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks. Mike, by the way, can you send me this presentation and I'll send it out to the group via email?
Yeah, absolutely. No problem.
Great. Thank you. Victoria, go ahead. Who do we have with their hand raised?
Laura Lowe's?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Madrid, I'm looking at this and I see these giant blank walls and that seem to go all the way up and down the street. But where is the parking for the 40 or so and more cars for the Albertsons grocery store? There doesn't seem to be any.
Let me have some backup slides. Let me try to figure out how to do that here. I think I just kicked myself out, but that's okay.
No, you could probably, if you stop sharing, you can probably share something new at this point.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. Let me just get there first. Because we did take a look at parking along with the traffic analysis that was done. We also took a look at a parking assessment that was completed before the COVID-19 pandemic. So we're thinking these numbers are pretty relatively, applicable to what we're going through now. Obviously, things have changed in the past few years with teleworking and the amount of people who work from home. Oh goodness, I can't find this slide, but this one.
And the disabled people who live more than a mile away from the Albertsons will now have to change where their prescriptions are refilled and where they shop.
Can you clarify that? I'm sorry.
Well, since clearly your plan seems to show no parking inside what is where current parking is for Albertsons, and they're large blank walls. So either the Albertsons has got to go, or people that are disabled and can't just walk. This is a youth community that
Yeah.
you're building here. So old people are out and people in Spring Valley are out.
No, that
How do we access?
So that's a great point. In terms of having a connected corridor, we want to make sure that access is available for as many modes of transportation as possible. So whereas right now you basically have to be able to drive a car to get to any places in the corridor if you don't live immediately next to it, we want to make sure that there are facilities for bicyclists, for people to walk. And especially knowing that there are two schools, two churches and an elementary school about a mile away, we wanted to make sure that these sidewalks are wide enough and they're protected by on-street parking that is provided in the road reconfiguration slide. And let me get
Well,
back
I don't
to
see any
that.
protection for the kids that would have to walk from Casa de Oro up to Casa de Oro Elementary School, because there don't seem to be any lights to stop the traffic even on the roundabout. So I don't understand this. Maybe I'm just too old to really understand what's going on here. But to me, I see no parking for people who can't walk all the way around the store without help. And people who need to get prescriptions filled are just going to have to go elsewhere. This is not a place for the Spring Valley community. This is a place for the private Casa de Oro community. And I would like my money taken out, please.
Well, again, just to kind of go over the different transportation infrastructure that's being proposed in this area. I couldn't find the parking slide that I had before, but you can see right here where the structures are. They're all pushed to the front of their property lines. What's behind them and what the area behind the buildings then become is the surface parking that used to be right out front. So essentially, we're just swapping where the parking is to make a little bit more of a streetscape on Campo Road.
So there's
Having
only
the
going to be
parking-
one way. There's only going to be one way to get into the Albertsons.
No, there's going to be plenty of connectivity between lots. We definitely took a look at the parking situation that's out there right now. You could argue right now that there's only two ways to get to the Albertsons because the parking lot that's provided in that shopping center is segmented off with brick walls, with chain link fences. You literally can't drive all the way across it. What the specific plan is looking at doing is making sure that connectivity stays in place. And that's actually being created where it's not right now. So that way you can just park once and walk to several different businesses that you can't do right now. Or what you could also do is
How
you
will be able to do it then?
okay.
Maybe a clarification. This is Jim Cousteau. Laura, this is about a block and a half east of Albertson. So this
About
is
that, but this is
between Gaetano's and the next street
Did you think I
to-
didn't know
to
that,
the
Jim?
west.
Did you?
Well,
see
I'm
I-
just
did you
saying,
think
it
I didn't
doesn't,
know that?
it doesn't show the Albertsons area in this slide. So
And what's the difference going to be?
I'm just saying, we don't know what the buildings would look like where the Albertsons is, where the
Because-
Albertsons could stay the same way.
Because
As
to
it is
me, you can get to the Albertsons 4 different ways. There are 3 pathways on Campo, and then you turn on the corner and you can come in off the side street. So I don't see that there seems to be far less access to me, and I think these businesses will go, I think they'll be gone. But then again, they seem to want a more urbanized style here, and they're gonna have to build some apartments to get those. But the people that live in Casa de Oro also are not the wealthy and uppity kind of people for this kind of development.
And
We're
those
all
are great.
kind of real people.
Yeah, and those are great comments. What I will say though is that the way we're looking at the development patterns today and what we're proposing in this plan is basically just swapping where the surface lots are, where we're showing what the current road looks like right now is you're driving down the road and you see a lot of parking, and you know there's parking right out front. It's a little bit more difficult to envision that the parking behind the buildings in this setup right here, as well as the 150 on-street parkings that are provided, that there is no on-street parking on Campo right now, will provide a quicker option for people to just park on the street and then walk across the sidewalk in order to access these businesses, rather than parking at the back of a parking lot, walking all the way through the parking lot where there are no pedestrian facilities, and trying not to get hit by cars. This is where we normally see where people who have disabilities or who aren't as quick across drive aisles may be in danger of being hit by automobiles and cars. What we're looking at having here is a quicker access to the building, more parking on the street, and then that allows a more flexible design pattern for the properties on Campo Road to take advantage of the area that's out there. It's a lot of strip centers right now.
This looks to me, unless this is kind of food bought up or something, that you have to drive beyond the parking space you want and then back into the parking spaces. It's that way on both sides, and I'm kind of wondering if we're expected to back into our parking places here on Campo?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's another feature that's been proposed into the design of the reconfiguration of Campo Road.
Because that's
We've
gonna
looked
really help the
into
traffic.
Well, we've looked into what makes parking safe and what makes it dangerous. This actually requires less movement. Just imagine if you're parallel parking on the street, your car ends up looking like this when you try to parallel park, and then you have to swing it around to get the nose in as well. This only allows you to having to back in at an angle. What it also allows you to do is, as you're merging back onto the street, instead of the traditional head-in parking where you're backing into oncoming traffic, you get to actually merge with the traffic as if you're making a right turn from another street.
Well,
It's a lot
who's going to
safer
stop
for-
and let you back into the space? Who's going to
Well-
stop for you and let you back into that place? Because that's going to take a lot of stopping of traffic.
Yeah, I mean, I've run into that same situation myself when trying to parallel park, and it's almost impossible to swing your car in nose first trying to parallel park and get it all straight. You kind of have to back into it. That's kind of the idea behind this, is kind of like that halfway point where you can still see traffic before you enter the traffic lane. But that's a great eye. Not a lot of people pick up on the angled parking and the orientation of it, because we're used to seeing it the other way. But as I mentioned before, backing into oncoming traffic has been shown to be a lot more dangerous, and the head out angled parking kind of makes it just like any other right turn.
I think the roundabout's a very good idea, but is it only going around one direction, or is it going in two directions?
The roundabouts go in one direction. You
Right,
merge
okay.
into the traffic and you go around counterclockwise.
Okay, I was thinking that, but you said something that kind of made me wonder about that.
Yeah.
So you did have a slide that showed the whole of Campo Road, and I didn't see, but I mean, of the proposed changes.
Oh, the changes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had a little strip.
Yeah, I think that is this one right here. This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no. It was just, it was a little strip. It showed all of Campo Road and the changing in there. Oh, back
This one?
there. Yeah.
Okay.
So here's Campo Road. And Albertsons is here, but I only see a driveway, and that whole thing is Albertsons. So I see maybe 1, 2, 3 parking places. Have you
Oh,
looked
no.
around?
These aren't
Mhm.
parking spaces. These are property lines. So what we're showing here is just the layout. The logos are just to be able to orient yourself on the map,
Okay,
to
so
kind of
but it's
help you know what
still,
you're looking at.
so you're not looking at what the actual access to Albertsons is going to be?
No, this is how the property lines exist today. We're just outlining where the district is, where the specific plan area is, and the 2 different districts that are being proposed. All of the parcel lines exist today, just like this.
So that the appearance that there are buildings there is just kind of, that's not really it. This is what.
Yeah, no, we're not showing
zoning
buildings
looks-
on
I mean,
this.
Okay.
Now,
Alright.
Laura, if you would, we're going to go on to some other members here
Thank you.
from some questions. Thank you. Jim Cousteau.
Yes, thanks for being here. Appreciate it, Mike. Or is it going to be proposed then to do single lane of traffic both directions throughout this corridor? I drive that road quite a bit, and there are some challenges with getting enough cars through the light at Conrad and
Yeah.
at Kenwood. So maybe a little 4 lanes there and then narrow them down right after that. So
That-
as you head up into that corridor, all the way from shortly east of Conrad would be merging into a single lane, because that will automatically slow down traffic and make things much more manageable.
No, yeah, that's a great catch. Yeah, I'm sorry if I didn't mention it before. The specific plan area goes all the way to Rogers on the west, but these proposed changes for the road reconfiguration that we see on the screen right here go from Conrad to Granada. So as soon as you hit Conrad heading west, things will go back to how they are right now, essentially. So you'll have those 2 lanes between Conrad and Kenwood. You'll still have the 2 turn lanes onto Kenwood, and then the 1 lane that travels onto Campo Road through Kenwood. And then that whole section over there will also stay the same. We're not proposing 1 lane of traffic. We're not proposing the on-street parking. We're not proposing any of that. This is the reconfiguration between Conrad and Granada.
Got it. So you're going to keep the 4 lanes at the light so that you can get the capacity through there, especially in the morning and afternoon when you get a lot of
Absolutely.
traffic coming
Absolutely.
through
We took a look at the traffic analysis. We showed that those 2 traffic signals working together does a really good job of moving traffic in the area. It actually has a pretty good level of service after the analysis that we did. And we wanted to make sure we kept that around. And so we want to have all of these different features between Conrad and Granada, and then keeping traffic moving at the other end with those tandem traffic lights.
Right. It would seem to me the biggest challenge is going to be getting property owners who are interested, or maybe new buyers come in who are interested in putting in the kind of money they're going to need to invest in this area to make these changes actually happen and be viable.
Yeah, and again, with the grant funding that we're looking at, we're hoping that we get either 1 grant to cover it or a couple of grants that we can piece together to do all of these public improvements, so that way they aren't transferred to either the existing property owners if they want to redevelop, or any new buyers who want to develop in the area. We want to make sure that this configuration that we're showing doesn't happen piecemeal. We know that might be a possibility. The specific plan does envision different implementation phases if that were to happen, but the ultimate goal essentially is to secure some grant funding for the county to come in here and do all of this work on grant funding.
Right. And I'm assuming you're looking at reducing the number of driveways that are operational.
Absolutely. The driveways onto Campo was a huge point that kept being brought up at all of the workshops and all of the outreach events that we did. The danger being the people not wanting to walk on Campo Road because of all of these driveways. There's cars coming in and out each way. It does slow down the traffic, especially when it does get a little bit heavier in the afternoons or in the mornings when people are turning out of that Starbucks to, get back onto the road. It stops up the whole street. We want to make sure this is always constantly flowing. That's what the roundabouts help do. It keeps traffic moving rather than that stop and go traffic that you normally get with traffic lights.
Right. Okay. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you, Mike. I appreciate all the time and energy you've poured into this project. Tim, you're next. You're muted, Tim.
What was the genesis of doing this project?
I'm okay. I didn't want to cut you off. I'm sorry. There is a stakeholder group in the area called the Casa de Oro Alliance. They do a lot of cleanup efforts, beautification projects along Campo Road. They came forward, and Josh, you're going to have to help me out with this one. I think they came forward in about 2015 to the Board of Supervisors looking to have some sort of process or function to revitalize the Campo Road area. They brought up, the different buildings that had kind of just sat there forever. Some of them had been vacant for years. They wanted something that can reinvigorate this area, revitalize it, kind of help wake up this streetscape and make it more into a destination. So they wanted to do something that would reverse kind of those stagnant trends. They brought it forward to the Board of Supervisors, and staff got working on it right then. We then started going out and we got that SANDAG grant in 2017, and I think the money was awarded in 2018, and we've been at it ever since.
Great. One more question. Quite a few people use that route to pass through there. And I'll admit it, on occasion, that's exactly what I do. If people don't use it to get from A to B, there really is no street to the south. 94 is right there. So where is that traffic going to go? Is there going to be some kind of a study to determine where the through traffic is ending up?
Yeah, absolutely. That traffic study that I was talking about, where we had taken a close look at the lights at Conrad and Kenwood, we also looked at the overall volume that exists on Campo Road. We believe with the roundabouts, and what the study shows is that with the roundabouts, with these modified left turn intersections, with the reduction of driveways on Campo Road, we can keep traffic moving through and constantly flowing, even with the one lane of traffic, and still maintain a similar travel time from one end of the corridor to the other as you can today. So if you still use the corridor or if you use Campo Road to get from one end to the other, you may get caught at 0 lights and get really lucky, or you might get caught at 3. That all affects your travel time. With this configuration where we're showing roundabouts, where we're showing a constant flow, we're hoping to make that a little bit more consistent, but ultimately about the same travel time from one end to the other.
Okay, thank you. Victoria, who do you have next?
Thank you, Tim. And Christian, I want to acknowledge that your hand is raised, but I'm going to call on each of our board members first. So Ed?
Well, I think you just answered a couple of these questions. I'm just curious that it does take into account the fact that when 94 backs up, this is where the people go, I assume, because that's becoming more frequent, particularly with the kind of changing the densities and what's going on in the area, both in Spring Valley and Casa Duro. Your traffic is going to increase dramatically. It's not, if you think it's bad now, you should see what it's going to go to. So I was just curious if Caltrans gets involved in this at all, or as far as what's going on there for the route, because right now it backs up considerably. I know your traffic studies have looked at it certain times of the day, but I just wonder if they're accounting for increased growth as well.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of traffic coming off the 94, the traffic study did look at intersections that reach 94, the intersections of Kenwood and Sweetwater Springs, as well as some intersections a little bit further than that also. Knowing where the traffic's coming from, knowing how the traffic moves, what hours of the day it rises. We also had a parking assessment done that informed some of the decisions that went into this proposal. And in looking at all of those traffic numbers and making the traffic work with this one lane of traffic, making the parking work with the number of parking spots that are left vacant at peak hours in the corridor, peak hours 2 p.m. And at that time, we counted an average of 45% parking space utilization. And so, and looking at how we can reconfigure the road, how we can better utilize the space that's out there right now, taking into account that added traffic from the freeway, the parking, and how it's all configured, that all went into that study. And that study actually is available on the project website as well, if you wanted to take a closer look at it.
Yeah, thank you. I think I'd like to do that. And then the other question I have is, I assume that these trees that they're planting along here will fit into that type of small area.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a section in the specific plan that goes over the different types of street trees that can be included. We've also been threading with our public works staff members over there in terms of green streets, and seeing how we can better effectively channel the drainage on the street to help with these trees, and then to also get it off the streets, of course.
Because a perfect example of those giant ficus trees that are there now, what they're doing to the sidewalks, the parking lots, all of it. They're beautiful trees, but they're unfortunately way too big for what were designed to do.
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback from those about those trees, and
Yeah.
we're looking at trying to preserve those big
Yeah,
trees
'cause
that
they're-
got a lot
they're-
of character in those.
They do. They're beautiful big trees, but not quite where they are. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Ed, and thank you, Mike. Jesse?
Yes, thank you for this presentation. I don't have any questions about the specifics of this plan, but I would like to ask how this body can really get things like this done. There are a lot of projects that this body has worked with, and we've asked for sort of that long-term support and sort of support with addressing some of these long-term issues such as parking and traffic optimization, things like that. We've had presentations and meetings with the responsible agencies in the county, and it seems like things kind of get lost in the mail. But here's this beautiful project that, you know, by the way, is out of our planning agency, right? And we appreciate you guys coming and presenting this, but we should really be asking, like, you know, how come we haven't been able to have this sort of you know, cohesion and maybe a long-term view of Spring Valley? Because I know the discussions have been had, and we've all tried to do that, but as planning members come in and out, you know, it seems like a lot of this gets lost at the county level. So, Mike, I know it's kind of a sort of an existential question for us here, but I hope that we can at least get some sort of idea of how we can get more traction on some of these bigger projects.
No, yeah, that's an excellent thing to bring up, and thank you for that comment. You know, with how this project got started, just at a stakeholder level, there's no reason why it couldn't happen in other places. And I think looking at this specific plan and all of the different things that it can do, how flexible it can be moving into the future, I think we're going to start seeing a few more of these. I'm not, you know, I can't say where our work plan will go. I can't direct that. That's a little bit of a higher pay grade than me. But in terms of how this got started and all the things that it can do, I can definitely see this being a valuable tool for almost any community in the county. You know, looking at the different constraints that each planning area can have, and what it can address. So no, that's a great thing to bring up. And yeah, in terms of staying involved, the Planning Commission and the Board of Supervisors hearings do welcome testimony at these hearings as well. So if any of you wanted to come out and you know, say what you think about this plan, or what a potential plan in other areas might look like, that's, you know, certainly a possibility.
So apart from the correspondence that we send to the county and with the planning group, what you're saying is that our presence at the meeting as a planning group could go a long way.
Yeah, I mean,
presence.
I mean, again, I can't really make any promises here,
Right,
but you know, in terms of getting out there, yeah, just I think there's also, it was brought to my attention too that there might be another alliance stakeholder group in Spring Valley as well. I haven't been able to meet with them at this point, but I do know there are a few stakeholder groups in Spring Valley also working to do similar things and kind of getting that all together. We do have a whole history of the beginnings of this project and the background report that was sent to the Board of Supervisors as well from the Casa de Oro Alliance that was sent to the board. And we do have that on the project website. That was one of the things that got it kicked off.
Mike, again, and your team, thank you very so much for coming here tonight and presenting this and fielding all of our questions. That's it for me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jesse, and thank you, Mike. Chris Pierce?
Yeah, thanks, Mike, for spending the time tonight with us. This has been great. You seem to be very interested and involved in the project. You know all the roads and streets, and you just seem to have a good passion of its, you know, progression and where it's going. So I really appreciate your involvement in that. One of the questions I had was the diversion of people trying to use San Juan and Dolores and the alleys. Is there going to be focus on improving those streets as well as instead of just Campo itself?
Yeah, actually, we have an entire strategy in the new updated specific plan. This is something that came out of public review and the public outreach that we did, was that we got enough comments about San Juan and Kenora and how important these routes are to the area, that they have their own strategy in the specific plan and how we can address both of these routes. And I say routes because I think, in looking into what these routes actually are, you mentioned an alleyway, which is how Kenora is designated. It acts as an alley. I think it's only about 20 feet wide, and then San Juan is 30 feet wide, but there are stretches of it that are not county maintained. So there are a lot of obstacles to overcome in terms of getting these off the ground. We also added an implementation action, which is what we're looking at doing right now. We're applying for the Active Transportation Program grant through SANDAG, which focuses on overall circulation in the area and around it. So that would include those two routes as well. But yeah, we definitely have a lot of attention drawn to these routes. We know their importance and what they can bring to Campo Road's revitalization. So we definitely wanted to keep that in there.
And I just wanted to also point out that I am a part of that group you're talking about, the Spring Valley Community Alliance.
Oh, hey.
We're applying for a TCC grant to hopefully be able to do a district like this within the Spring Valley area. So we look forward to hopefully working with you if we receive that grant. So thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Mike. If there are no other,
Jim Cousteau has his hand up. Victoria.
Jim Cousteau?
Yeah, just a quick follow-up question, Mike. One of the big challenges we're facing out here, especially in the Valley de Oro planning area, and is the interchange at Spring Street and 94 and 125. That's in the design stages right now with Caltrans, and we made a big push several years ago to get money for design on that interchange. It's probably one of the least efficient sections of freeway in the county. And what's happening is because the 125 gets bottled up from Interstate 8 down to 125 South, and on the 94 going eastbound from just east of Lemon Grove all the way back up to Interstate 8, is that folks that are trying to go north or south on the 125 oftentimes bail off the freeway, get onto the surface streets. And I know in the morning that's leading to a lot of additional traffic on Campo Road, probably on Conrad, probably on Campo Road over to Bancroft, going north on Bancroft. In the afternoon, there's a lot more traffic that's taking Bancroft south and taking Fuerte and then going back west on the 94. It's really kind of crazy. And anything that's going to be done here has to keep that focus on getting that freeway interchange completed and brought up to some semblance of freeway design standards, because that's going to help reduce some of the pressure on these surface streets.
Yeah, thank you for that comment. Yeah.
That's all I had. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that comment.
Jim and Mike. If there are no other members from our board, I would like to acknowledge Christian. I know he had his hand up for quite some time. Okay, we can get back to him. Lisa?
Hi, yes, thank you. So I am the new president of the Casa de Oro Alliance as of September 1st. And I've been involved with the Alliance before it was a 501c3 nonprofit, when it was a project of the Institute for Public Strategies. And I'm here because I live in this planning group, and but I've been involved with this particular project. And so I just wanted to thank Josh and Mike for all your work and for your team's work in working with the community. And to address Jesse's question about how can we get this to happen in all areas of Spring Valley, I would love to see that happen. And I'm more than happy to talk with community members who care about their community and want to bring about change, to introduce them to the Institute for Public Strategies, because truly that's how we got started. We were a project of theirs for about 3 or 4 years, 5 years, before we became a nonprofit on our own. So I'm happy to provide that kind of support and strategy, because I would love to see this happen in every community. But we all know that it really takes a community to help carry the, I shouldn't even say sports analogies because I'm not a sports person, but to carry the football down the field across the to make the touchdown. And when county staff is working with an organization rather than with random individuals, it's a difference. So I'm pledging my support publicly. This is being recorded, that I'm happy to do that. But a shout out to Mike and Josh and their team for really a great job in keeping connection with the community and helping to make a plan that will hopefully be bring all of the changes that we want to be brought to the table. So thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. This is Jesse. And I guess where I was coming from with that comment or question was more that we are a planning group, and so these topics and issues have come forward as a planning group, and we're not just people or citizens, if you will. We're a body. But no, I understand your point, and we look forward to working together and finding a way to do this for this part of Spring Valley. Thank you.
And please, I didn't mean that you are random individuals. You are an integral part. I don't know if any of you remember Mike Stewart, my husband. He served in the planning group for several years, and so I value the work that you all do. I just think, in addition to a planning group, the work of the Costadero Alliance to get the specific plan going was instrumental. We did work with our community planning group, but it's really the citizens that, saying it all backwards, because you all are citizens of your community too. But in addition to the planning group, to have an organization. So I'll stop now before I put my foot in my mouth again. But you're not random individuals. I appreciate the work that you all do.
No, thank you. Your point's well taken. It's a team effort, and that's what it sounds like. And tonight's presentation is super helpful. So thank you, everyone, for helping Spring Valley.
And Lisa, thank you for those kind words. I could only say the same about the Costadero Alliance and the Valle de Oro CPG and the amount of work that went into it on that side of it as well. Like I said before, the specific plan has gone through a few different iterations. Getting it to this point, it would not look the way it does. It would not have the different strategies, the different aspirational things to reach for in this area without the stakeholders and without their participation and support and their hard work and dedication in it. So we really appreciate that we were able to work with you guys. We want to do more things in the future, obviously, but thank you again.
Thank you, Lisa. We all appreciate you. And thank you again for your time and energy that you poured into this project. Christian, if you are still available.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Hey, how's it going? Thank you, Mike, for
No, he cut out again.
We lost him.
Yeah, he had to go to a tablet or something, you said.
that area. And
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead, Christian.
And so I would, along with, I believe, Laura and everybody else would like to see a rendering of what Albertsons would look like, but up closer to 7-Eleven, right there where the roundabout's going to be. That is resemblant of like La Jolla. If you've ever been to like Cardiff by the Sea or Bird Rock, that area, I think it looks beautiful. I think it could definitely revitalize in a positive way. I've seen cars hit people at the crosswalk on over there by Campo Road. So anything to slow down traffic would be a positive. But my question was, how long do you think a project like this would take?
Tough question.
That's a great question.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for those comments. We definitely appreciate them. And looking at you know, it all depends on, you know, when certain things happen, when the money is available, if we're able to secure some grants. We want this to you know, we want this to start tomorrow if possible, but we know that can't be that's not a possibility. What we do want to see though is that given the stakeholder engagement that we've had, the participation from the people in the area, the activeness of these groups, we want to keep that rolling. And so that's really what that implementation plan is designed to do, is to kind of keep that ball rolling after hearings and once a plan is adopted. And we want to make sure we keep that ball rolling. As to a certain timeline, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to say a year or anything like that, but we will be pushing hard and working very closely to try to secure these grants to keep that ball rolling.
I'm sorry, I probably wasn't clear enough on my question. I'm asking more towards once construction starts, how long would a project like that take to finish construction? But thank you.
No, yeah,
Thank you for clarifying that.
No, absolutely. No, that's another great question. That's difficult to quantify, but we're definitely going to be doing our best to get through it as efficiently, but also keeping that same outreach piece that we like to do with all of our projects, making sure that that's a staple in every project that we do. So when we do move on to that next phase, which would be doing these engineering studies, preliminary engineering, and a final design of what the road can actually be built to, there will be an outreach piece for that. So yeah.
Thank you for your time.
And Victoria, we have, looks like Jim Cousteau has his hand up.
Yeah, I think one of the advantages that happened on this project, you know, because the planning group, we have a lot of different things we have to deal with. In my sense is the Casadura Alliance was able to have a laser focus and just concentrate on this one corridor to try to do some revitalization. And we could probably do a similar thing in Spring Valley. Our big challenge is we have so many corridors that need revitalization, as we have to narrow down somehow where we would like to start and do a similar kind of project that's maybe attainable. And the planning group probably be difficult for us as planning group members to be able to put enough focus and enough concentration into that one singular project to push it to the goal line. Probably would take a similar kind of 501c3 like what was formed to do this project. And that's just my thought. I just think that we have so many things on our plate as a planning group that trying to laser focus on something like this would possibly take away from all the other work that we need to do. That's all I had on that.
No, thank you, Jim. Mike, I think that's going to be it. Really appreciate you doing all this. It's going to be a wonderful project, and we're all looking forward to it. I've been in the area 40 years. I'm willing to wait another decade or so to see this done. So best of luck to you guys, and please keep us informed as you have updates to your studies or any kind of plan updates or anything, and we'll see if we can get you back in. Sound good?
That sounds great. And again, thank you to the entire CPG for your time and your meeting, and happy to answer any questions. I'll put, if we haven't already done that, we could put the project website and our contact information in the chats. That way you guys have that as well.
Yeah, and please go ahead and forward the presentation to me, and I'll send it out.
That too, absolutely.
All right, thanks again, Mike. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so we're going to move on to action item 2, this is a discretionary permit application for a 7-lot tentative map on the west side of Grand Avenue between Date and Eucalyptus Streets. And the presenter is Lowe's and the proponent is Brendan Hofstee. He's a civil engineer and designer with Walsh. Laura, if you want to go ahead and pick it up from here.
Can I open my screen share now?
Yep, I just closed mine.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
Is Brendan here tonight?
Brendan, are you
Yeah,
there?
can you guys hear him? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. This
Laura, you were there, but your presentation went away.
one.
No, that's me. Well, it's you.
That's not new. Okay. This should be all right.
No, you're showing the meeting agenda.
No, my screen shows it.
Oh, okay. So maybe I had the same problem that Bob did earlier.
Does anybody else have the project up rather than the agenda?
I see
No.
the meeting agenda.
Agenda.
It's just the agenda.
Okay. It says I am screen sharing.
Okay, so I stopped your share. Now go ahead and do your just the material for the presentation.
Oops, where did it go? There we go. And share. It's
Ta-da!
Perfect.
3 times, great, okay. This is actually 2 separate items. One is an administrative decision on a proposed zoning change, and the other one is a tentative map for a proposed 7 dwelling unit development, taking up part of approximately 10 acres. And
Excuse me, Laura, we have somebody that's got their microphone open and it's causing a lot of background noise, so.
I just muted him. So I think it's the proponent, the number ending in 4506. So I'm going to mute you again. And then when you'd like to speak, just dial *9 to unmute yourself. So proponent, I'll be muting you and you can *9 to unmute.
Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it. Okay, Laura, go ahead with slide 2.
Okay, we first saw this on September of 2019, and then we saw it again on June of 2021. They were both kind of meetings to kind of go over what they were wanting to do and what they were thinking of doing, and so they kind of withdrew everything. We never took a vote or anything. We just kind of discussed it. The first thing they want to do, first thing that they wanted to do is do what we call clustering, which allows a person who has a piece of land like this that is not easy to develop all of it to use a small space, but still use the same total of dwelling units that they might be able to share and to have. So it was written in our GP 2020 for Spring Valley that we would not allow that, but you know, that happens. The zoning box for this 10-acre piece shows 1 acre zoning. The proposal is to create 7 lots of 0.5 acres net and leaving the leftover for future development. And I am concerned about that future development part. Why do I have this piece up on the top? I can't read everything. The proposed development is within 200 feet of the Dictionary Regional Park Preserve at the top of Dictionary Hill. And that needs to be addressed by the county and propose appropriate conditions attached to the proposed home development to make sure that there is appropriate communication back and forth without interrupting the humans or the animals. The county needs to ensure that endangered species or plant life will not be disturbed. I tried to contact 3 different people, and only one was I even able to leave a message to. The phones just rang off the hook. So this is the proposal. This is Eucalyptus Street, and this is Grand Avenue, and that way is north. So this is lot 1, lot 2, lot 3, lot 4, lot 5, lot 6, and then lot 7. And this is the property line. And this is the leftover piece. So as you can see, as required by the county, each lot nets at least half an acre. This one is over with 5.3. This one has 5.8, excuse me, 0.58. And this one has 0.77 acres. So they meet the requirements for the minimum amount of property. See, doggone it. The tentative map shows all access to the lots will be off Grand Avenue, except for lot 7. Lot 7 is going to be accessible off the private driveway of lot 6. And in their prolific paperwork, the proponent states they are seeking annexation to a city or special district. And it's unknown what this is about. So Brendan, I hope when it's your turn, you'll be able to tell me what that means. There will be approximately 3,000 cubic feet, yards of material cut out and 200 cubic yards of fill. When built, lots 1 through 4 will block the view of people living on the other side of Grand Avenue, but there is no regulation against that. I feel sorry for the people that have had this nice view, but that's how it is. Now, this is their preliminary grading plan. Here again, Eucalyptus, Date, and Grand Avenue. Now, these little black marks are specific to each lot. We'll go over that in a minute. So as you can see, they're pretty much standard. It proposes the little black things were retaining walls 5 feet in height on the southwest side of each proposed lot to support vegetation, which Brendan told me were the trees. That was what those black marks were. An open space easement to preserve biological resources is also proposed to minimize environmental impacts. So does this mean the rest of property is open space and dedicated open space forever? And this land should remain open to allow for the wildlife, in my opinion. Okay. Now, the proponent took pictures of the site. Here again, Grand Avenue, Eucalyptus. It's called, each site is called KV 1 or 2 or 3. I did not load 3 and 2 because I wouldn't have enough room. And this is the viewpoint most of the pictures were taken from. If you can, I can make this a little bigger. No, I can't right now. The scale says X, XX, and XXX. So it doesn't really tell you how this scale is to be determined. I find it a little odd, but you know. So let's go to the pictures. Okay, this is taken from the bottom of the site. This is the property line going right across here. And
now, Laura, you're facing Grand Avenue to your right, correct?
Grand Avenue goes right along here. Is my cursor
Right.
moving?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, there's this house and this is the same house. So as you can see here, these people all have views as they go downhill. Right here, they don't. But up here, this house is going to lose its view and these houses probably will too. This is the proposal. Let's see, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5 is down here, and then 6 is here, and 7 is here. And this is the property line. Try to get a little bit better view. Here again, this is the house for reference. This is here and here. So if you can really tell, this has a very sharp decline right here. So it is going to require a lot of cut and fill. And when you look at it here again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is kind of hidden. This is 6 and 7. They're probably not going to be using the fenced yard and they're probably not going to have grass. But that's kind of a proposed look at things. But it's a little hard to get the true perspective because when you look at it like this, they just look so humongous. They're mostly proposed as 2 stories. As you can see right here, That is going to be built into and used within probably a year of purchase of every home. And the county needs to probably look at that because they're all over Dictionary Hill and all over there on Lakeview, where people have built like this, and yet this becomes more dwelling or more living space. So it's a little hard to get the true perspective. So these rocks here are these rocks here. Now, the problem, let me go back here to this, is here's lot 7 and here's lot 6. Lot 6 has a driveway to about here and then continue the driveway for this person's access. Now, this appears to me, right, going this way, to be a fire department turnaround. So I have a question. The thing is that when you're using somebody else's driveway, you're kind of at their mercy. So I really believe that this should be a dedicated easement. And the county should require that to be a designated easement for the people, because I live on one. Okay, so here are my issues and concerns. It's fairly short, isn't it? The administrative permit process proposes to take approximately 3.75 acres zoned as 1 acre lots and change them to half-acre net lots. That means they can't be any smaller than half an acre, creating 7 lots, leaving approximately, according to their figures, 5.8 net acres as biological open space. This shall be permanent with no development of that space in the future. This biological open space is a term I have not really seen before, so I'm not exactly really well informed about what that actually means. And the configuration of the created lots shuts off the movement of wildlife from that portion to the Dictionary Hill Preserve. This could definitely create a conflict between property owners and wildlife. And consideration needs to be given to providing an access way for wildlife communication to the adjoining preserve, because the one gentleman that lives up there on the corner had said that, oh yeah, they see the animals going back and forth all the time, morning and evening. And that's great. I like to see that, but when they're cut off, I think they're going to encroach on the people's backyards and such, and that's not safe. And as I said before, access to lot 7 at the bottom of the hill is by using the lot 6's driveway. And that needs to be a grant of easement across the driveway to guarantee the access to lot 7. And in looking at the simulations, the homes appear gigantic. They may not be nearly as large as some of the homes that are already on Dictionary Hill, but it's just the feeling that the simulations appear to have. Many existing homes will have their views blocked by the apparent height, and the county needs to make sure the proposed development conforms with the appropriate height. Now, I understand the maximum height is 25 feet. That doesn't really, that'll change a lot. So I did not make a motion, and since I am done, I will ask Brendan to go ahead and share any comments about the presentation that I have so far, and then the group can discuss it. Is that correct, Mr. Chair?
Right. Jesse, can you go ahead and unmute Brendan?
We cannot unmute him, but if the proponent will dial *9, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or
I just asked him to unmute himself.
*9.
There he goes. There he goes. So Brendan, did you have any input on this?
He's showing muted still.
Okay. Don't know. I can't unmute him, but I asked him to.
He is now unmuted.
Great.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead, Brendan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just here to answer any questions. We have a 7-lot development off Grand Avenue. There's a lot of talk about density, and we're only proposing 7 homes, which is actually on the other side of the street. There's 14, so technically it's half the density of what's on the other side of the street. And Yeah, there'll be minimal grading because the houses will be mostly on walls just due to the steep terrain of the site. There was a point brought up about the houses seem large, but they're actually on par with what's across the street, and they're just 2-story, so they might even be smaller in terms of square footage. So yeah, if you guys just have any questions that you feel like you need to have answered, I'm here to answer them.
Brendan, when it talked about in the paperwork, some kind of annexation, do you know what that is? I mean, I know about the sewer system, and water and fire, but it just.
I don't. I mean, I know there's. I'm not sure. It's if it's regarding the density, like I said, it's going to be less houses than what's on the other side of Grand. So I'm not sure.
Okay, because it talks about annexing to a city, and I'm thinking, well, there are a couple around, but I didn't really know. Okay, Victoria, would you mind going ahead and calling on the people that have their hands raised?
Of course. Jim Cousteau?
Yes, thank you. You know, as I recall, when we had a short discussion on this proposal previously, it seemed like there was a question about which water agency would be chosen for this space. It seemed like it was in no man's land between Otay and Helix. So that possibly could be the question about LAFTA getting involved to determine the water service. That might possibly be the question on that. Brendan, if you could answer the question that Laura had regarding the easement for that home number 7, so that we can ensure that there's a legal easement for that lot 7.
Okay, yeah, sure. So lot 7 will be not directly accessed by Grand Avenue, but there will be a proposed private access easement through lot 6 to access lot 7, and that will be taken care of when the final map is done. So yeah, they'll definitely have access, and we've you know, the thing about this project is we're about to get it approved with the county, so we've already gone through all the rounds and satisfied all their things. So in terms of, you know, fatal flaws and things like that, we've already worked all those out, and the fire department has approved that private access easement as well. So that'll definitely be part of the final map, and it shouldn't, you know, it's very typical for projects to have private access easements proposed. So nothing
Okay.
out of the normal.
Okay, my other question was, you had mentioned minimal movement of earth, but 3,000 cubic yards is not minimal. That's a lot of dirt to move around. So is there going to be any dirt hauled offsite or any dirt hauled to on-site?
I believe the project is nearly balanced. But when I mean minimal movement, I mean, you know, if you were to grade pads out there, flat pads, it would be 5 times that amount of earthwork being done just because of the terrain. So kind of best case scenario, just given the nature of the lot and what we're proposing. So
And have you guys done soil studies? Because that's a lot of rock there. You're gonna have to do blasting, I'm guessing.
right. So yeah, the county requested a soil reconnaissance report that we had prepared, and you know, that's already been prepared and part of the project. So we've covered that soils aspect.
So the paperwork I have, Brendan, says that there will be no blasting. Has that changed? And are you just gonna dump the cut onto the open space? Was that what I was hearing today to Jim?
I'm not sure your question. He asked if there was a soils report, and I said yes, there was one done.
Well, I made a statement. It seems to me that you're gonna have to do some blasting. I don't know how you're gonna move 3,000 yards of dirt, well, of rock, without doing some blasting. So I want more definitive answer on that.
Yeah, we're not the soils engineer, so I would have to reference the soils report. I'm not sure on that.
Okay.
So who are you here to represent? Like, I guess what is your role? Like, what questions can you answer? Because we're like
we're
2
the-
for 3 here.
Oh, well, we're the ones preparing the preliminary granite plan and the tentative map. So any questions that you have about the development itself, that's what I'm here to answer.
They're the engineering and surveying unit
Correct.
for the work. Does that help, Jesse?
Yeah, helps clarify that.
Thank you.
Okay, Victoria, who do we
Chris
have next in line here?
Thank you. Chris Pierce.
Yeah, I'm looking for clarification on what's going to happen with the remaining acres that aren't going to be developed. I'm trying to understand if it's going to be given to the park, or is it just going to be set aside as a reserve, or is it going to be future developed?
Yeah, so there's the majority of the property actually is like upwards of, I think, 5 acres. It's just going to be a biological open space. So just meaning that it's undisturbed, untouched, left as is type of thing.
Permanent.
So
Is that permanent?
permanently, yeah. Nothing,
Okay.
yeah. No, there's no
Is it dedicated to the, has it
Correct.
been dedicated to the county?
correct. It'll be a biological open space lot that'll the county will have access to and have ultimately ownership over. So it'll just be, pretty much how it is now, plus 7 houses that are on stilts, and that's about it. We're not touching much.
You're sorry to jump. You're saying the county's going to maintain that then, that open space, as needed?
I mean, they're not gonna quote unquote maintain it, but nothing is happening there. It's as if it was today. Nobody can build on it, if that's what you're asking.
Thank you for that clarification. Ed Woodruff.
Yeah, I had a couple. Do you have any idea the approximate square footage of these houses that you're planning on building?
If
Or
I
the-
recall, I
in there?
believe the perimeter of the house, or the area of the 2-story house, is less than 2,000, if I recall. So it'll be 2-story, but within a square of whatever it is, 40 by 40 or so.
Okay, and as I understand it from what you said, the open space is, you will be doing no grading, no blasting, nothing will be going on in there. It's left exactly the way it is now, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've had a biology study prepared through a consultant and submitted and actually accepted by the county pretty much. So we're
some
at
of those
we're
things
at the end.
some of those things you've indicated that you've already taken and talked to Chris. We don't have access to that yet, or I haven't seen it. As far as what's happened with those, or what the study was, or any of that kind of thing. Is there any way of getting that?
Sorry, what was your question?
My question, this may be more of a county question, but you've indicated that you've taken care of all that. All of these different things that seem to be taken care of, and the county's passed on it, but we haven't actually seen what that is. So I was wondering if there's any way we can get a look at that also.
Yeah, I mean, we can send you the biology report, but they don't, that's, the biology report doesn't, the purpose of that is to see if there's any specific wildlife on site and those kind of
Right.
things, or
I think
mitigation, but
that would be one
you know,
aspect of it I'd be interested in.
we're
But
dedicating this area for biological open space.
I
And that's
see.
always been since the start of it. We didn't even, you know, it's not like we put something there and they said, hey, you can't put it there. It's just, that's just been how the project is. So I think
it's if I understand it right, then it's your feeling that everything that you've sent to county, they've passed on and everything's okay.
oh, for sure. Yeah. We're about to get this thing approved. So it's kind of, we like to wait. We like to, you know, I don't know how other people do it or other companies, but we like to get things, you know, flush out all the county's problems and then go to you guys, just so it's easier. It's just so it's easier on you guys to, you know,
Well,
you'll see it more of a finished product rather than.
Right, I
some that's
appreciate
gonna
that
work.
because we've been kind of burned on some of these before, so I guess that's why I'm asking. Not that you would, of course, do that, but I want.
Yeah.
There's parts.
We've
of
had
this,
enough experience. Yeah,
Right.
we've had enough experience where we know that.
There's some big parts of this I haven't seen yet, and that kind of concerns me.
Yeah, well, if you guys have any more questions, then I'll, you know, glad to answer them. But
Well, thank you.
if not, then yeah.
All right,
Thank you so
Victoria.
much. Thank you. John Eugenio?
John, you're muted.
You're muted.
Okay, here's my question. How far back off Grand Avenue are those houses set?
So there's a front yard setback that all lots have to abide by, and I'm not sure if it's.
How far
I
from
forget
the,
what it is.
from the residence-
I forget what it is from this project.
How far from the
Probably
residence
about
of
30
Grand
feet.
Avenue?
Say setback from the center line. The setback. from the
So
center line,
it
Brandon?
should be shown on the PGP.
The reason I ask is from what Laura said, is that those houses will block the view of those houses on the other side of Grand Avenue. And if that's so, have you contacted those people that you're going to block their view? And there's a possibility to move those houses. I know that's that slope is about a 30-degree slope off Grand Avenue. If those houses can be moved further down the slope to eliminate blocking the view of the houses on the east side of Grand Avenue. Hello?
Hello. Yes. Yeah. So the houses are within the front yard setback, and
Okay.
we don't plan on moving them from where they're shown.
Why not? You know, you're going to be blocking the view of the people, their view. I mean, you could see, I stood there with Laura a couple of weeks ago, and you could see all the way to Coronado. You know, and that's blocking a nice view. And I told Laura, it's a beautiful view. I would hope that they don't block the view for the other houses.
Yeah, and you know, that's why the height designator comes into play, but we're within certain height parameters,
Understand.
and it's
Still
just the
block.
nature of the site. So
I understand, but you could still be, but look at those pictures. You got a lot of room to move those houses down the hill, and it will still give the view of the people on the east side of Grand Avenue.
correct, but when you move them farther away from the road, you're moving the house down, and then the drainage doesn't work.
The drainage doesn't work. That's not a good answer.
Are you a civil
No,
engineer?
No, I'm not a civil engineer, but I'll guarantee you the drainage should still be the same. If you move them
Okay,
down
well,
far enough,
when the driveway drains into your garage, is that a good
that's
thing?
not a good answer. That
You know-
crap comes into my garage now.
We don't
Okay,
really
well,
need to
that's
fight about this.
unfortunate. That's unfortunate, sir. But
Point of order, Chairman.
We're trying to prevent that.
Point of order, I think the proponent is out of line in questioning the board members' qualifications. It's not what you're here to do. And
not-
to be
Okay.
honest, I think it's disrespectful.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. Let's, John, let's say your point is made and hopefully,
All right.
Brendan has
I
taken it under
apologize for
advisement.
offending you. I'm sorry.
They won't do a damn thing about it. They'll just block the view of the people's homes on the east side of Grand Avenue. They
Gotcha.
don't care. They don't care.
Okay.
They really don't.
Okay, now for
As
everybody,
an, so real, sorry, I'm racing here. As an unpaid, members of the community and have somebody on the board like John Eugenio, who's a decorated veteran, I think, again, I think you're really out of line here. And if I may, just to finish my point of order here, there are a lot of questions that weren't able to be answered. Those that were couldn't be provided with any surety from the proponent. And before I can comfortably vote on the project that would change the landscape of Dictionary Hill and Spring Valley, we need to see the documentation that usually accompanies these projects that would address those concerns that were asked, such as grading and
Good
blasting,
point.
and get surety.
Yeah,
answers.
Laura,
So
Laura,
I would make-
is there a planner associated with this?
yeah, Ochoa.
It's Nick Gustafson.
Okay,
you would
so
like to
I-
That's not the name
I
on
would
the
like to-
paperwork.
I'd like to finish what I was saying and I'd like to make a motion to vote no, to deny the.
Excuse me, Jesse, can we continue with the order of operations in the meeting, please? We're at the, everybody gets the comment section right now. Just for everybody's information, the setback from the center line for lots 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is 50 feet.
That's normal.
So
That's
John, I
okay.
see your hand is still raised.
Lot 6 is 60 feet.
No.
Lot 7 doesn't matter because they're way far back.
Lot 7 probably doesn't block the view of the people on the east side of Grand Avenue.
No, the house in front of it does.
Yep.
I mean, 6 does, would, possibly. It might not. If the county allows the normal 25-foot height, it's gonna cut off people on Grand Avenue and Eucalyptus and
Yeah. Well, I just wonder,
further up Eucalyptus.
I just wonder if those people on the other side, on the east side, were canvassed to see if they approve of something like that blocking their view.
Well, they don't have any, the county doesn't have to take that into account because there's no regulation on it. I understand, I agree with you, John, but
John, I see your hand is still raised. Did you have another?
Oh, I'm sorry.
comment?
I'll take it down.
Okay, and Jesse, were you able to finish your comment?
Yes, I placed a motion, but I didn't realize that there was still more discussion. So I'll withdraw that, but ready for the motion.
Are there
No,
any
Laura-
other comments or questions?
Laura, you a couple of motions on the screen.
yeah, I didn't put up a motion because I'm
Not yet.
two ways about it. And like John, I have some real concerns, but I understand that the property owner is entitled to develop their property. And I'm really torn by this. And were there 2 more people that raised their hand, Victoria?
Yes, Jesse?
Yeah, so then I'll be clear, is we didn't get clear answers or any surety from the proponent on some of these key questions, including the grading, including the blasting, and this meeting is being recorded. So, I mean, whatever that means, I mean, in the past, we, like Ed pointed out, we've been quote burned, right? And so we need to see the documentation that the county's on board with what you're saying, that the county's on board with. In the past, when these sort of projects have come, they come with those stamps already. So that's the process, and none of that is being presented today. And again, we weren't able to get.
Excuse me. This is Brendan. Can I jump in?
Yeah.
Hey, so the county can't approve. It's one of our comments that we hear this at the planning group meeting. So we can't get, you said, stamps or certification from the county on this project, but that doesn't happen until we satisfy all their comments. So it's just, I just wanted to correct you if you're looking for a stamp approved.
No, that's not what I'm looking at, because it
sorry,
comes after this group approves it.
Can I finish? If you have any concerns about You know, you had some questions about the soils. I'm not the soils engineer, and I don't have the report in front of me, so I can't properly. It wouldn't be correct for me to just give answers on something that's not my in my wheelhouse. So we do have a soils report. If you would like to see it, we can send it to you. And also, feel free to reach out to the county, the planner. You know, Nick Gustafson. He's been working with us through the county things, and
Nick who?
Nick Gustafson.
Oh, okay. I got that. Had the
I-
last name, but didn't sound the same.
Yeah. So again, you know, I'm here to answer any questions about the project, and I don't want to. Sorry if I offended anybody, but you know, I'm just here to do my best and present our project. And the owner actually lives right up the street on Eucalyptus, and he just you know, he's a guy that's had this property forever. He's gone through hell with the county just to get to this point. So, you know, we're just here to present the project, and, you know, it'd be a great addition to Dictionary Hill, which is already pretty packed. This would actually be more spread out. It's one of the only open pieces in the area. So I think that should be taken into account, and in terms of housing needs and all that we're going through. So if you guys have any more questions, just let me know.
Thank you. John Eugenio, I see your hands raised. You're
John, you're muted.
Yep. Hey, Brandon, I'm a concerned citizen, and I'm a community member, and I'm really thinking about those community folks that live on the other side of the street. You know, I know it happened to me here in my place, and I really didn't like them blocking my view, but maybe, you know, maybe something
Yeah,
could happen
I
before
understand.
the houses were built.
I understand. You know, but this guy's, you know, he's put a lot of money and time into this, and it's unfortunate for those property owners, but they'll still have some view. You know, it's only 7 houses, not 14. It's not packed in, so, and it's, you know, under certain height regulations.
I understand. I understand. But, you know, I'm just thinking about those community members that live on the other side of the street. Because it's going to happen to them. They're going to probably start complaining. You guys are blocking my view.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily know if that's even true. They're going to be higher up than those houses by some extent. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, Brendan, that at this stage, for what we're being asked to do today, at a minimum, we get paperwork from the county that addresses grading and blasting. It's a checklist. And I don't have the name of the form in front of me, and I don't know it offhand, but I do know that typically there's paperwork. I shouldn't say typically, there's always accompanying paperwork.
We got that, Jesse. Thank you.
Well, no, okay. Well, I just want to make sure that it's
I
clear.
get your message. Yeah, I got it.
Well, I know you do, Laura, because you've been on this planning group for a long time, so I know that you understand. But for him to come and say that,
I have Laura's email. I can send the whatever soil study was done. I can send it to Laura. Sure.
Oh, more than that.
Okay, I'm done with this.
Thank you so much. Jim Cousteau, I see your hands raised.
Yeah, you know, seemed like we couldn't get a straight answer on this project. To me, this thing is like half baked. We don't really understand what's going to be the final designation of that open space. And if you ask me, it eventually, I can see it get built upon. They're asking for a reduction in zoning.
It can't be built upon.
Hey,
sorry.
Hey, Brendan, please let Mr. Cousteau finish.
We haven't had a straight answer on this project. It's been back and forth for a couple of years. I'm not going to support it. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Jim. Chris Pierce.
Is it possible we request this to be tabled for next meeting when we can get answers to these questions, definite answers?
Well, at this point, Laura, has anybody, including yourself, come up with a definitive motion on this project that we can vote on tonight?
Well, Jesse started, but he withdrew it because we weren't done talking about it. Because I didn't make a motion because I am concerned about the development, but.
Well, Jesse, what do you got?
The motion.
Well, so I mean, I'm open to abstaining it. My original motion was to reject the two pieces as proposed. But I mean, yeah, let's table this, and if the proponent can get the documents to Laura and to the group before next meeting, and we can address the questions that everybody had, then I don't see why it can't move forward. Instead of voting no.
Tim, didn't you send out all the paperwork to everybody at once when you were asking for volunteers?
I may have, but I think the fact that we've come up with another planner named Nick Gustafson, that we ought to be talking to Nick about this too, because I think right now with the me as an individual not being chair of the group, but a member of the group, I don't like the plan. I think it could be done a lot better. I think John's right. I think you can offset these further on. Sometimes I think the owner is just looking to, okay, he's gone through a lot of cost and expense and time and everything. So he's going to put 7 houses as close as he can to each other. And then he sat down with a calculator. That's my opinion. But
They do meet the setbacks. The houses all meet the setbacks. Right now.
Granted, they do. But if we're not going to have a motion tonight, let's go ahead and table this. Laura, if you would, talk to not only Nick in the planning department, but you mentioned another name.
I forget her first name. It's Ochoa.
Is it Rebecca?
If that's her first name, yes. Wait a minute.
Okay. And the both of them as well, and get all that paperwork, including I'd like to see
Regina.
Okay, I'd like to see where San Miguel signed off on that private drive.
You want the service letter? Well, they did with an easement and the turnaround. Like, remember I showed you where it looks like, is this the one right here?
Yeah, I've seen it.
The fire department turnaround, right, going right that
way. But has San Miguel looked at it yet?
Well, supposedly, I did not get that information.
Okay, let's get all that. Okay.
And likewise, the water and sewer question, because it doesn't seem like we have any answers on that either.
Yeah, and I'd also like to find out what the final disposition of that open space would be, because I don't want to find out that 7 more houses are going to go on it after the fact. Okay.
Here's what I have to go back to the county with: the open space dedication to the county question mark. Access to 7 lots will be the access to lot 7 be a dedicated private easement.
Right.
Determine about blasting.
Yes.
And where it goes.
Yeah, and also grading. Yeah. It would be a shame to open space all those squirrel burrows and then bury them under rock gravel.
Need squirrels. I always need squirrels.
Building height's another question.
Building height and water and fire letters.
Please. Okay, so let's go ahead and table it. And Laura, if you would, run those down, please.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
The open space dedication to the county, question mark. Access to lot 7 to be a dedicated private easement, which on the plan simply showed it as a driveway. And then determine blasting and where the dirt goes, building height, water, and fire letters.
And Laura,
and sewer also.
Sewer too on that. And then I would, if I could, the only way I'm going to be able to do this is if I can see that this stuff has actually happened, it's stamped and it's approved of and all of that. Because right now it's a little vague to me as to what's going on. And I think tabling is an excellent idea on this one.
Okay, it's done. All right. Thank you, Laura. I'm going to go ahead and stop you sharing.
I will do that myself.
Real quick, it looked like the proponent had his hand up.
I'm sorry.
It looked like the
No,
proponent had his hand up.
not anymore. His hand is now down.
Oh, all right, just giving him a chance.
Okay.
All right, we're going to move on to item 3. This is a request for exemption for a B special area. This is Caliber Collision at 2555 Sweetwater Springs Boulevard. And this is the signage for their new location. And the proponent is Cassandra. Is it pronounced Gallardo?
Yes, well, Gallardo, but a lot of people just pronounce it Gallardo.
Hey, I take Rosetta Stone. I know how to. I'm going to go ahead and bring up my presentation here. I think this is it, so everybody can see it. Everybody can see that, okay? Okay.
Yes, I can see that perfectly.
Okay. This is a classic B permit exemption request. I looked. First of all, I'm going to show you where the signs are. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit for you guys. All right. There's signs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 is on the corner of Willie Baker Way. Everybody knows about this street. It's a somewhat of a steep street. The businesses on the left side of the street as you're going up the hill towards Elevator Road is sometimes kind of hard to see names and signs and entrances, et cetera, to the buildings. Cassandra, from what I understand, Caliber Collision was up the street in a much larger
Correct.
building, but they're moving down to this location and they're taking
Correct.
over all 3 tenant spaces. Is that correct?
That I'm aware of, yes, it will be taking over all 3
great.
tenant spaces.
Okay, great. And then, again, this is just another location of the signage. Let me go back to my spreadsheet to show you these 5 signs. Actually, there was a sign 6 originally. There is no sign 6. But they're taking the sign from the original building and bringing it down onto the main frontage of the new building. And then they're having a second sign. So that sign is actually going to be oriented, I guess, north-south. And then on the west side of the building facing Sweetwater Springs, they're putting in a second sign, 43 square foot sign. And then on the corner of Willie Baker Way, there is right here, there is 3 spaces there because there were 3 tenants in these buildings. And originally Caliber wanted to put the name Caliber Collision 3 times. And I said, no, I said, if you would just put it in 1. And so they acquiesced. We're now going to put it in just 1 space. Okay. So back to my spreadsheet, that's sign 3. I said down from 3 signs to 1. Somewhat of a directional sign, again, because of visibility issues with those properties along that side of the street. Also, this is zoned, someone correct me if I'm wrong, M54. So it's manufacturing industrial heavy in that area. No residents that I'm aware of can actually see that facility, even from across the street, whether it be at Sweetwater Place or anywhere else. Then they have an office sign, small office sign, a small building directional sign, and which I believe is like on a awning above the office door. And then there's a direction to the office on the street with an arrow pointing into the parking area. So the square footage, 128 square feet. We recommend in our new formulations for the design guidelines, we recommend 110 square feet. And what I'm thinking down here, let me just really quick show you the signs. This, Cassandra, if I'm wrong, this is the sign that is coming down from up the street.
Correct.
Okay. And then this is the sign that is going to be on the street side.
Yes.
I'm thinking, is the reason why they didn't put this sign on this side of the building is because of the windows? Or what was the circumstance why they, because up the street, they had it on the street side. Down here, they have it on the parking lot side, right here.
Correct.
And
Yeah, I'm looking at the plans here as well. I want to say we did that one of the windows, and it is a bigger sign. We want the bigger sign to be more visible in the front of the building.
Right. And that's
part.
You're right. And that's where you have it here. Okay, good. And then this is the 3 sign situation. I'm sure you've all seen these. You've seen them so often you don't see them anymore. These 3 blank spaces, and you get an idea about visibility right away as you're driving either at the corner of Willie Baker or up Sweetwater Springs, of seeing the front of that building. All right. And so they're good. Cassandra, they're going to use the middle section to say caliber collision, right?
Correct. We went
Okay.
down, we went to only 1
Out
for
of
your
3.
request. Yes, from 3
Right.
to 1.
Gotcha. All right. And then this is the classic terminology and engineering of those signs. Now, that's about it. I'm going to open it up to any questions. Anybody got any questions? Victoria?
I see Chris Pierce has his hand raised.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, Tim, what's gonna happen with those 2 other signs on that corner? Are they just gonna like show the glue, or are they gonna cover it up, or are they just gonna be tagging murals, or what's the plan?
That's a great question. Cassandra, was there any talk about those 2 spots?
There was no talks. The talk was we wanted those 3 panels to be up there just to represent caliber collision and be able to have that signage. And, you know, like you said, sometimes it is hard to see any signage on this building. So we wanted those 3 spots for the panels, but we
Right.
wanted to compromise with you guys and just have 1 up there. But
Now,
if you
who-
guys have any suggestions?
I take it that Caliber is going to be a tenant, so there actually is a landlord there. Is that your understanding? I mean,
My
that's that's a great question, Chris. You know, can we do something about those 2
like
empty
a-
spaces?
A tile mosaic or something like that, so people don't tag it up and stuff?
Yeah, yeah. Well, they haven't in the time that it has been open, but that's a great point. And that's something that we can work into our motion is please deal with the other 2 open sign spaces on Willie Baker.
Would there be any? It's a B waiver.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
How
But I
about
mean-
they come up with some nice murals, maybe work with one of the art programs or something to do some Spring Valley related artwork that could go in those 2 other spots.
Yeah. And again, with the B waiver, it's quote unquote up and down, but it's the kind of suggestion that we can make to Cassandra, and Cassandra can kind of make back to Caliber Collision.
Ed?
You know, you can make it thematic and make it show some old cars in a mosaic or something along that line. Yeah.
I see Ed has his hand raised.
Yes, I couldn't quite see this well enough, I guess, but are these signs lighted at night?
I believe they are,
Yeah,
Cassandra.
'cause I saw one back there where actually I think it kind of showed it, was where you
Yes,
were showing
2
all
will
3
be
of those.
illuminated at night.
And can we just
The-
go
the
back to
ones on
that
the
for a
building.
minute? The one where it shows that?
Which one? This one or
The one where you can actually see it looks like it's lit. It's on the far right side. I think it may be the next one. I'm not sure. These will be the one in the front along with those blanked out spaces.
this large sign already exists up on the older building.
Right. This was the other one. I think it's smaller than that.
Cassandra, will either of these signs be lit at night?
Yes, they will. Both of them will
Okay.
be.
Okay.
Okay. And then if you can go to that, I think it's picture number 8.
Okay. Yeah, we're at, oh, I'm sorry. This one?
Right. There's the sign I was wondering, would the lit signs look like that?
I'm sorry, say again, Ed?
I said, when the signs are, lit at night, would they look like that sign there? Because that looks like that's lit.
I'm not sure.
This will not be lit. This is a
That will not be lit.
non-illuminated panel sign.
Got it. Thank you.
Non-illuminated. Okay. Very good.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what their business hours there are. Cassandra, do you know?
I can find out for you guys.
After the hours.
Yeah, because I don't exactly know. They're not 24/7, obviously, so they're probably
They're not
closing.
24/7.
They probably close like at 7 or 8 o'clock, something like that. Okay. And
Ed, did you have all your questions answered?
Yes, I was just curious about the lit and how it would actually look, and she's indicated that's the way it would look, the one on the right.
Laura Lose?
Thank you. I'm a little bit confused here because I usually am. This 4 foot by 6'7" sign that we're on right now, that is a separate standalone sign out by the edge of the property.
Yes,
yeah,
that is a panel sign. That is a non-illuminated that,
Okay.
well,
that's-
me and
that's
Tim were
what I'm
talking about. yeah.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
the non-illuminated one.
And then on the other side, go to the page before, please. Is this the back of the building or the street side of the building?
street sign.
To me, that's very hard to read. It would seem to me that it would go over between that big space between those two windows. But to me, it's very difficult. I wouldn't be able to read it. And so if you see it there, you've already driven by the street, right? You've driven
Yeah,
by
but
Baker.
I would think it'd be even worse so if you moved it towards that last window on the right side of the building, because by then you're way by the building entrance. Yeah, that's the one thing about the entrances to the properties on that side of Sweetwater Springs is that they're few and narrow.
Now, is the entrance off Willie Baker or is it?
No,
off
the
driveway?
entrance is, no, there's a driveway right here at the beginning of the building.
Okay, that's after Willie Baker.
Yes, that's after Willie Baker. Thank you.
Okay, and then there's just two signs. There aren't three signs.
There's two signs and then everything else is either incidental directional signs to get
Yeah,
them
I
into
wasn't
the parking
concerned
lot.
about those. I don't have
Right.
any concern about those because they're
Okay.
entitled to have them anyway. I
Right,
would
okay.
prefer the office sign was smaller, but
Oh, it's very small. Thank you.
it doesn't look small. Okay, no, that's fine. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Right.
Laura, I see your hand is still raised. Or John? John, you're muted.
Yep, hold on. Okay. Oh, hey, I was wondering about those two signs that are out in front. They're not going to be utilized. If they eliminated some of the signs on a building, I would go ahead and utilize those other two signs.
Yeah,
They're
but
authorized 110 square feet, correct?
correct. But
Does that include the monument sign out in front?
no, I'm counting this one as a directional sign only because you can barely, as you're coming up Sweetwater Springs from Hamashaw, you really can't see the name on the building until you get up past these three signs.
But you can see the three signs,
Right.
correct? Yeah, you can see those. They're bright and clear. You know, it tells you that Caliber Collision's right behind the sign.
Right. But you're saying put Caliber Collision in all three places?
Well, yeah, and eliminate some of the signs on the building.
Well, for one thing, I think they want to utilize that sign they've already built and paid for that is on the older building.
Yeah.
And the best
Okay.
thing to do is just move it down the street and put it on this building.
All right.
I think that's kind of where that's coming from. And the thing is, with the peak of that building, even though it's a really shallow peak, you've got to get the sign up to where it's over the fences and over these three, well, actually over the elevated corner at Willie Baker. And that becomes another problem. Everything's kind of line of sight along there. And I think that's why they want to put that large existing sign right there, right here under the American flag right there, is because that's probably the best place it can be utilized is to catch somebody's eye.
Well, I would hope that the Caliber Collision monument sign out in front catches their eye.
Well, yeah, except for after dark, if it's not lit at that.
I don't think anybody be going there after dark. And that's good.
Thanks. Victoria, who do we got next?
Jim? Jim, you're muted.
Yeah, thank you. A couple of things. You know, I was up there the other day, and if my memory serves me correctly, there's already signs on that building. Do we have an answer for that? I'm sure there's already signs on that building. saying caliber collision.
Now, you remember that just up the street, just before you get to elevator, where it turns left and heads towards the storage area back there, that was where they originally were.
I understand, but I'm talking about this building right there, Willie Baker has
Yeah.
signs on it now. I'm almost certain. I mean, I
Uh,
was up there last week. Seems like there's already some signage on the building. That's not a big deal with me. I mean, we've had that issue before where, I mean, Chevron did that on that gas station down in Spring Valley where they had signs up before they came to us.
Yeah.
So my request is, and I know this is an up or down vote, but we've done it in the past where I would like to see these signs, the illuminated signs go dark after business hours.
Okay. And-
Because the homes that are being built right now at the Old Point project, Sweetwater Vistas, I believe it is, they're going to be able to see directly to this building
It's true.
from
Yeah.
their homes. And we want to try to keep light pollution as minimal as we can. I see no need to eliminate the signs at night. There's not a lot of traffic on that roadway. It's not like you're going to get a lot of advertising after hours. So it would be nice if we can get the proponent to agree to put those signs on a timer so that after business hours, they would go dark. Or, within a reasonable time, say an hour after business close or something like that.
And Cassandra, is that something you can pass along to Caliber for us?
They will be on a timer.
Oh, they will be. Okay.
They will be on a timer, and yes.
Do you know the hours?
The hours are 7:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Those are the operating hours.
Yeah,
Oh.
For Caliber Collision.
Yeah, we'd want to know the hours of operation of the backlighting on the lights.
Yeah.
Okay. I will email that to Tim after the meeting if that's okay, tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's just a request. We can't demand it, obviously, because this is an up or down vote. But I'd like to see, good neighbor sort of response on this and have the lights on those signs go dark within a reasonable length of time after business closed. So if it closes at 5:30, I would say by 6:30 or 7, I'd like to see those lights go out. It's not an issue during the summer, late spring, early fall, but it certainly in the winter months when the time changes and it's dark by pretty close to 10 to 5, it'd be good to see those signs go dark by a reasonable hour, say 6:30.
Hey, Jim, the time won't change anymore. We're on standard daylight saving time now. No more change of hours.
I think it's still changing. It's still changing.
They haven't agreed to do that yet.
Yeah, that hasn't changed, John.
Oh, I thought it did already. I thought they approved that.
Wishful thinking, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, Victoria, who do you have next?
Jim, did you get to speak?
I'm done. Thanks.
Okay. Chris?
If no one has anything else, I'd like to make a motion.
You can go ahead and make one anytime, but I think there's still one or two people. Laura's got her hand up, but go ahead and make the motion, please. Jesse, you ready?
I move to approve the proposal as submitted. I just wanted to make a note that it does say 3 needed on that sign right there.
Yeah, but it's we've already determined that it's down to 2 and 1.
I just want to verify that's 1. And then we request that they do like a mosaic on the other 2 signs if possible.
Yes, something. Phil,
I will second that motion.
Right.
Gusto.
So the motion is to accept the proposal as presented.
okay. And then Victoria, who do we have still with a hand up?
Laura Lowe's?
Hi, yeah, I just had one more question. Do we have 2 signs or 3 signs? Because I don't understand. We keep hearing this sign and that sign and then another sign. And do we have actually 3 large signs? And do we no
No.
longer
No,
limit
two
the
large,
number of signs?
2 large signs on the building and then that directional sign right there. But the actual lit signs on the building are this one, the original sign from up the street,
Okay,
and this new one, which is on the street side on Sweetwater Springs.
but then that big sign on the corner.
Right here. Yeah, that's,
Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
3 signs.
yeah, I'm kind of counting it as a directional sign simply because
No, a directional sign has arrows. Come on.
we can put it in. Don't tempt caliber. They'll put arrows in this third box over here.
Well, I mean,
That was my thought, Tim.
it's ridiculous, but they don't need 3 large signs like that. That's just, to me, that's really
Well-
acceptable. And I don't know why we no longer care about signs
Well,
because it provides the most blight in Spring Valley.
I think there's a lot of logistics involved with this because when you move that large sign now down without changing it after you've just, I think they put it up, Cassandra, correct me if I'm wrong, last year? Did they put that sign up last year?
Which sign, Tim?
The large one that is gonna go on here. That one is the one up the street.
That is the one off the street.
So they're taking it off that building, putting it on here. I think, Laura, what happened is logistically, this is my opinion, it wouldn't go properly on this face of the building facing Sweetwater Springs. And so they put it on the technical front of the building with the office being right here on the right corner. But then
You're
that meant
correct,
that meant they had nothing on Sweetwater Springs. So they came up with this second sign, the driveway being right over here off the left side. And then this sign helps to not necessarily direct, but to say this is what this building is, as opposed to putting it off to the right or even in the middle.
So they are within the allowable square footage.
No, they're not. They're, yeah, according to my calculations, ours is 110 square feet. And those 2 signs together calculate to 128.
So even now that our new guidelines are so much larger than before, we're still giving even larger. Thank you very much.
Okay, all right. Okay, any other comment? John, do you have your hand back up? Okay, Victoria, do we have any other hands up? Laura's is still up. Laura, you got anything else? Okay. So with that, Jesse, it looks like we're at a point where we can go ahead and take a vote.
All right, let's get this pulled up. So we have Tiffany Gonzalez is absent, Laura Lowe's.
No,
Laura Lowe's is no. Jesse Robles is, that's me, that's no. Chris Pierce,
Yes.
Roger Saleh,
Yes.
yes. John Eugenio. John Eugenio is muted.
I was
John,
muted, yes.
John is yes. Scott Harris
He's
Absent.
absent.
is absent. Scott Schaefer is absent. Rod Gibbons is absent. Chris Pearson
Absent.
is absent. Jim Cousteau,
Yes.
yes. Victoria Renica,
No.
no. Ed Woodruff,
No.
Bob Edley,
Yes.
yes. Tim Snyder,
Yes.
yes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 no's. We have 4 no's. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeses. We're missing one there. 1,
is
2,
it 6? I got
three.
6.
4, 5. Who am I missing here? Tiffany's absent. So for no, we have Laura, myself, Victoria, and Ed.
Right.
And yeses, we have Chris Pierce, Roger, John Eugenio, Jim Cousteau, Bob Edley and Tim Snyder. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 yeses.
I got 6, Jesse, when people were voting. I counted 6, but I don't remember the names. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm using Tiffany's tool here, so I'm sorry that this is always a challenge here. Okay, so I'm here. Chris Pierce, that's 1. John Roger Sally, that's 2. Yeah, that's 3 yeses there. 1, 2. Yep, that's correct. We have 6 yeses and 4 noes. The motion passes.
No, it does not.
So we have a majority of the.
Well, we have
Number of seats. We have
Has to
50
be,
seats.
has to be 8 yes.
Yeah,
from the whole group.
has to be the number of seats. So it's going to be rejected. And I'm assuming that the greatest, it's hard to tell Cassandra what the issue is, so she can go back to Caliber and the county and come up with a resolution. Do we have any comment back to her?
I said my piece.
Okay, well, I'll probably discuss it with her further. I have a pretty good idea what it may be. And we'll go ahead and we'll talk it further, and then have her get back to Caliber with a redesign and with the county as well, and then come back at a future date, hopefully. Okay?
Tim, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
When you did that calculation, did you do the entire frontage of all 3 spaces?
No. Oh, you mean as far as right down the line from let me show you the whole thing here in overhead. Here you go. You're talking about from this high right corner here all the way down to the lower left corner.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Cassandra, is that the 110 square feet, 110 line feet?
So what I have calculated, which is a mistake on our designer, which will be fixed immediately. What is shown on the plans is only showing that part of where the sign is going to be placed, but the entire frontage should be over 200 feet.
Ah, okay. That's a big difference. Thank you, Chris.
Yes.
Now, since
So
we've
they can
had,
come back to us with that?
yeah,
Yes, I will.
yes, definitely, because that will hopefully make a difference for at least 1 or 2 votes. So
I will get that over to you tomorrow, Tim.
Yeah, great. Because Caliber is eventually going to occupy all 3 spaces, right?
Correct.
Yeah, because they're going in the building they're in now. There's 3 tenants in there. If you just give them 1/3 of the building, it's bigger than all this combined space. So I think they're going down to a smaller space that's more manageable. And what the number I had was the number that was right here.
You're correct, Tim.
Which is 108 line feet, but actually it should be 200. That's a big difference. That will make the difference. So send that to me, and then we'll get you back on the agenda. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Tim.
So,
Thank you, everybody.
so the question I would have on that is Caliber have the lease on the full building or just that small part?
You mean as far as all 3 of these pieces that are here?
Yeah, if they've already signed the lease for the full distance, then I would think that they should be able to include that full distance in their linear for signage square footage. If they've only signed a lease on this one section that we're looking at today,
Right.
and they're considering future expansion to the other 2, then I don't think that would pass muster.
Yeah, we just need to find out, Cassandra, if they're planning on occupying from the get-go all 3 of these spaces, which explains why there's 3 signs over here on the corner. Yeah.
Correct.
But
Is the frontage road Sweetwater Springs or Willie Baker?
the fruit, that's a good question. I would say the office is down here in this corner where number 4 is. Can you see that? And that's where the office door is, with the parking is going to be right here for customers, including the bay doors. That is the frontage. Willie Baker.
Well, now then that's that long piece that we saw before, right?
Well, that's a piece of that long piece. Thank you very much.
That is a piece of the long piece.
Right. So this is 108, but there's another 92 feet off to the left here which wasn't in the
In the
illustration,
calculations.
right? And the calculations. Thank you.
But I thought that the area where all the parts were boarded up, that was Willie Baker Way. But this is Willie
Right.
Baker Way.
Correct. This is Willie Baker Way. This is where the three signs are. And this is the front of the building where the bay doors are and the office.
Faces Willie Baker.
Yeah, and they face Willie Baker. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Can we move to the
Okay.
next?
So Cassandra, if you can get changes to that to show these drawings to show that and back to me, I'll get you back on the agenda as soon as practical. Okay.
Perfect, Tim. And is there any way I would be able to be first on that list since we were last tonight?
Actually, I'm first or second because I think I already have somebody on the agenda for 2 weeks from now. But you'll be
Perfect.
close to the top.
Perfect. Thank you, Tim.
Point of order on that. When we revisit a previous question due to new information that's coming back to us, we generally try to put them first on the agenda.
Then we'll do so. Thank you, Jim.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jim.
Okay. I think that's going to be it for this. Cassandra, I'll be talking to you hopefully soon.
Perfect. Yes.
And I'm going to go back to the agenda for today. And as far as approval of the minutes, Jesse, do you have the minutes for the 13th?
Yes, I sent them out in a Google Doc to the group. I don't know if anybody, let me drop, I'll put the link in the comments here.
Yeah, I'm going to stop my share. Do you want to share them?
Here. Dude,
I don't think I printed them out.
let me hold them up. Did everybody receive them?
I did.
Here, Tim, I'll send you the link here.
And I guess at this point, is there any comments or edits or questions or?
So again, you guys will have the link for the meeting minutes for today at the end of today's meeting. I'll put it in the link right now. I'm working on them as we're in the meeting here. So anybody with a link can access it and you can. put it in the
Is it,
comments.
you're talking about 2 weeks ago?
Yes. No, for today's meeting.
Okay, so, but does anybody have,
Yeah, there
does
they are.
anybody have any comments about 2 weeks ago?
Yes, so these are for the 13th of September. We had 2 people absent. We had the climate action plan update. There was no action taken, no vote or motion, no action. Second one was the wastewater project, no vote, no motion. And then we did have a motion for the third item, or actually, no, there was no motion for the third item. We're waiting on updates on the PLDO list. There were some questions that Chairman was gonna look to get. And then we did have a motion for number 4, which was a continuation of the teleconferencing. And
Then approval of minutes.
that passed.
Okay, Jim, did you make a motion?
I move that we approve the minutes as submitted.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay, Jesse, if you go down the list.
Yes, we have, let me switch to that one. I really got to give my my hats off to Tiffany. There's a lot of going back and forth and being in the meeting. So I appreciate everyone's patience and getting my bearings here. So Tiffany is absent. Laura Lowe's. I think we lost Laura.
Do we still have a quorum? We still have a quorum, right?
2, 4, 6,
We have
7,
9.
9.
Yeah, we
Good.
do.
Go right ahead.
Chris Pierce,
Yes.
Roger.
Yes.
Saleh? Yes. John Eugenio,
Yes.
Scott Harris is absent.
Absent.
Scott Schaefer is absent. Ron Gibbons is absent. Chris Pearson,
Absent.
absent. Jim Cousteau,
Yes.
Victoria Renica,
Yes.
Ed Woodruff,
Yes.
Bob Edley,
Yes.
Tim Snyder.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. We have 9 yeses.
Thank you. All right, we're going to go on to group business. Any announcements from the group?
I did get a text from the resident on St. George. She submitted a picture that of basically a screenshot of the complaints that she was making for the heavy trucks parked along St. George. And so she just asked if there's any update on that.
Now, Morale, is that correct, Chris? I don't know, Jim, is that correct? Morale has assigned it to somebody to look into it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, which part was that about?
The St. George Street by the Smart and Final.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's dealing with that now. My contact has generally been Ernie Bartlett.
It's Ernie. It's Morale has assigned it to Ernie to look into it.
Right, Morelli's still there. He's the big boss.
Right. Yeah. So he's Chris. So he's or I'm sorry, Jesse. So he's definitely looking at it, but he's assigned Ernie to it. And
Okay,
that's the last I
perfect.
heard about a week or so ago.
Okay, perfect. I'll pass that on. Thank you.
Thank you. And any other announcements? Chris Pierce.
Yeah, I talked to the gentleman on Lamar Street who had a problem with the drainage culvert and his trash can placement. We presented it to the Department of Public Works, and they pretty much gave us the same answer as they told him, is that there's nothing really they can do at this point. If they tried to put a grate on it, it could maybe backflow, back up water, and that could cause damage to another property, which would make them liable for a lawsuit. They say there's many of those drainage culverts all over the county. They're not going to go and replace every single one. They did say if our community planning group wanted to put it on our CIP list as a capital improvement project, we're more than welcome to do so. But it is explained that we do have much more important projects that fall on that list. He did say that the Public Works gentleman said that he would be working with county right-of-way to see if there's a possible solution for creating an area for the gentleman to put his trash cans, because there's really no other place between the street and his property.
Yeah, there's no sidewalk or anything like that, correct? Yeah. Okay, so in other words, they're telling him now that they've uncovered that hole, they got to keep it uncovered.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any other announcements, Ed?
Yeah.
Yes, John.
Go ahead.
I want to thank Jim Costeau for passing on the information to the traffic,
Ernie Bartley.
Ernie, about the 18-wheelers parking in the dotted right turn lane, actually, or the bicycle into the bicycle lane, and then where they can make a right turn. Because I tell you, if somebody's going to make a left turn one of these days, with the increase of the traffic coming down Sweetwater Spring, and they're not doing 45, I don't think anybody does 45 anymore. It could be an accident because it's blocking the line of sight for a left turn.
I'm actually, John, I'm going to have that on the agenda next week so we can
Okay.
show the overheads and what all and the signage involved.
All right.
Because it's kind of odd that they do a lot of curb painting and signage at the apartment building, and then as they get towards, what street was it again we were talking about? Cristobal. Thank you. As they get to Cristobal, they don't do any of that. And it seems to me that they could replicate that same program between Rothgar and Cristobal.
Well, even if they just didn't park in that dotted line area,
Right.
that'd be back far enough where you could at least see some of the traffic coming.
Right. Okay. So do you think I still need to put a letter together, or Jim, you've already passed that information along?
Yeah, I've passed it along to Ernie, and I'm going to follow up with him tomorrow. I sent ironically enough, I went and took a Google Maps Street View snapshot of it tonight before the meeting, and darned if there wasn't a semi parked exactly where John's talking about. And so I'm gonna send that I'm going to talk to Ernie tomorrow. I have a couple of other projects I need to talk to him about, St. George and Bancroft School and the Sweetwater trailer park question on Sweetwater Road. I mean, it's kind of like we're getting backed up with requests and not getting any resolution on any of them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, Jim, I looked that up on the California DMV for signage and road markings. And all it says is that it's a broken bicycle lane. And nothing says you can't park in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, rational thought says that downhill, fairly high speed, you need to have line of sight.
Yes.
For people coming out of that road. I mean, I never go that way just because all those streets that come in there between there and the Jack in the Box. I mean, it's like you're taking your chances trying to go across those streets.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt. Okay, Ed?
Yeah, so Tim, is there any way we can get this thing clarified for Jim, or to takes a letter from us? Because he's been having to play around with this, am I or am I not, for quite some time now. I think it's time that stopped, and try to get them to at least recognize it, if he is or isn't, because I mean, how is he supposed to know?
Well, we know for a fact right now he isn't. The big question is, how do we get him back in front of District 4?
Okay, and how do you do that? That's what I like.
Well, first of all, I did see Jamela Johnson on the meeting tonight, and I believe she's no longer on the meeting.
No,
but she was on it earlier, and again, Jim, you're reaching out to District 4 like crazy, right?
Well, I've kind of been using Scott Schaefer as a go-between, and he said it's in process, just hang in there, and I've tried to make a couple of emails, and I just haven't had any success in actually talking to a human being. And
well, try giving Jamela Johnson. She's on.
Can you send me her email and phone number?
I sure will.
Yeah, and then I'll try to call her tomorrow.
Gotcha. I'll do that right away. All right. Is there any other announcements, Ed? Are you done?
That takes care of it. Thank you.
Okay. As far as reports, actually, I'm reaching out to Caltrans again on the 12594 because Chris Pearson talked to somebody at a meeting and sounded to me like the groundwater issue is causing more than just mild concern about that whole intersection. So I'm going to try to get Michael Orero, who's the senior planner on that project, do a presentation with him so we can nail down what's going on with the 12594. Okay.
That'd be great. This is why we call it Spring Valley.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got to keep the heat on them because otherwise that whole thing is going to fall to the wayside. And they're going to build more lanes on the 15 and the 56 and the 5 and 78, and we're going to be here. We good old East County gets stuck on the back row again.
Hey, gotcha. Jim, I jumped on Avocado Calavo exit onto the westbound 94. Boom! I stopped right there last week at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I did that, John. It took me over an hour to get from my house to the zoo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So then if you look at the traffic on Fuerte and then going south on Avocado, and then the traffic backs up going west on 94. And the only reason for that is people are taking Fuerte and Avocado and then back west on 94 to avoid that damn interchange.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yep.
Right. Okay, well, I'm going to get this back on track here. I have a question for Chris Pierce. When you were talking to Public Works people about that drainage, did they give you the impression there was a priority drainage list, or do we have to put that drainage problem on our general CIP list?
He made it sound like other community planning groups had more investment in drainage projects. He didn't specify which ones, but I can follow up with him and ask he just made it sound like we just put it on our top 10 CIP, but he did mention something about other planning groups being more involved in that process. So
Yeah, they probably all got sidewalks, so it takes care of that problem. CSA 128. Anything to add?
We only meet once a month, so nothing new since last time.
Okay. Are you guys back to meeting regularly?
It's not in person, it's still.
Oh,
online.
that's. But I mean, you're back to your month-to-month meetings.
Yeah, we've been doing it, I think July, August were the only 2 months that we skipped.
Okay. And
Tim,
obviously, we've talked a lot tonight about the traffic advisory committee. Yeah, Jim, I'll send you that contact information for Jamila Johnson.
hey, Tim.
Yeah.
The Parks is going to be doing an event for the homeless at Lamar Park this Saturday. They're going to have a shower and just a trailer and some other services to take them off the street, get them cleaned up. And that's, I'll put an email out to the membership.
Yeah, because I've been trying to get a hold of Omar Passon.
He
who
no
is-
longer works with.
Yeah, he's gone to another agent part of the county, I believe.
I believe he works in San Jose now.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, that's definitely another county.
So Chris or Victoria or anybody, if we have a new homeless contact that replaced Omar, I'd like to find out who that is, so that I
email that
so
over
that-
to you.
yeah, if you could. Perfect. Yeah, I left him 4 messages in a row and I got nothing. So, all right, John, highway cleanup.
I don't have nothing to report. We do have, next month, we have highway cleanup on Sweetwater Spring Boulevard. And I think I got it scheduled for a Saturday morning, but I don't remember exactly what day it was. Another thing is Chris and I are meeting at the battery storage place this coming Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Maybe somebody else would like to join us to look this one over, because it may be impacting us again at another location.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if anybody,
There's going to be some concerns with sound, and if there's anybody that specializes in like decibel readings and would like to help us take on this project, we'd appreciate that.
Yeah, it's on a residential lot.
oh yeah,
Well, it's a commercial lot next to residential.
Yeah.
Well, it says residential on the paperwork.
well, it backs up to houses for sure.
Right.
Okay, so if anybody wants to join in, just reach out. John or Chris.
John, yeah, I would like to go to that Thursday at 2:30 at the, and
I don't have the address in front of me. Maybe Chris has it.
yeah, I know where it is. It's the old
Okay.
Pac Bell building.
Yes,
Is the proponent going to be there?
yes.
Oh, good. Yeah, because we definitely want to see sound meter sound information at the property lines, and what the sound wall is going to do in terms of attenuation on the sound.
Good,
All right.
good.
I'm going
It
to
looks
send
like
out
you-
all the documentation to the whole group so they can review it. The proponent put it on a SharePoint drive, which has public access. So anyone who wants to look at that information for this project, the battery storage facility on Lamar Street can.
Yeah, I'll be happy to do that. I'm real interested in the whole electrification of the grid and battery storage.
It
So-
looks like there's some decibel meter readers on Amazon from like $15 to $20. It looks like they have.
Well, you won't be able to get a rating now because they haven't really done any installation.
Yeah, it has to be based on engineering analysis, based on the kind of sounds that will be. They have to be able to give us all that information before we're going to
Right.
take a position on it. We get that when we do the cell towers
Yep.
equipment. They give you dB readings at a given distance because the dBs keep dropping as you move away. And then I believe they're going to be putting sound walls between there and the residences, and so we want to know what's going to be the level of sound that's going to be able to escape beyond that sound wall. So that's the kind of stuff we're gonna need to find out.
They want
And
to
they-
put like 14-foot sound walls in there. so-
Right.
14 feet. Yeah, because the county has a lot of documentation about, what they consider acceptable and otherwise. Trust me, I know. But there's nothing that you can sit with a meter right now and measure. That's
Yeah.
my understanding. Okay.
And Jesse, to answer, you can turn your phone into a dB meter. There's an app you can get, just go on. The one I have is called NIOSH-SLM. It's pretty cool. Right now, as I'm
That's
talking,
amazing.
it's, but you can just kind of go to your app store and look for sound meter, dB meter, and you'll be able to find something.
Cool.
Thanks. That's amazing. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was able to monitor the Blue Angels in flight at the Miramar, and it was like 120 dB.
Oh, good.
Not so
Oh,
far.
that's awesome.
Okay. As far as assigning projects, no new projects right now. And our next meeting is October 11th. So we're going into the season, guys.
Yeah, if we take off Thanksgiving and the date between Christmas and New Year's, we only have 4 meetings left. for the
Right.
year.
Right. Very interesting. All right, good. So right now with everything been said and nothing else for the good of the cause, we're going to adjourn at 9:43 p.m.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank